The emergency beacon had been blinking for 300 cycles. Each flash sent its desperate message into the endless darkness of space, but no one answered. No one ever answered anymore. Commander Rex floated in the observation deck of Mining Station 7, watching the stars through the cracked viewport. His blue skin had grown pale from malnutrition, and his forearms hung limply at his sides. The station's life support systems were failing, one by one. First, the heating units had died, then the water recyclers. Now, even the air scrubbers were making that terrible grinding sound that meant they wouldn't last much longer. He remembered when this station had been the pride of the Galactic Mining Consortium. 50 workers from different species had called it home, harvesting rare crystals from the nearby asteroid field. But that was before the war, before the trade routes shifted, before everyone forgot about Mining Station 7 and the lone survivor still breathing inside its metal walls. The other workers had evacuated when the first warnings came through. Rex had stayed behind to finish the emergency shutdown procedures. He'd promised them he would catch the last transport. But the transport never came. The war had erupted across 3 star systems, and suddenly, one mining station at the edge of nowhere didn't matter to anyone. For 300 cycles, Rex had rationed his food, fixed what he could fix, and sent his distress signal into the void. He'd watched his supplies dwindle from months to weeks to days. The universal translators had stopped working long ago, so even if someone did receive his signal, they probably couldn't understand it. Today was different, though. Today, Rex had made a decision. He opened the small container beside him and counted the remaining food pills. 3, enough for 3 more days if he was careful. After that, he would have to make the long walk to the airlock. Better to choose his own ending and to suffocate slowly when the scrubbers finally gave out. He was about to close his eyes for what he thought might be the last time when something impossible happened. The proximity alarms, silent for so long, suddenly screamed to life. Rex jerked upright, his heart's pounding. Through the viewport, he saw lights. Not the cold, distant lights of stars, but the warm, artificial lights of a spacecraft. It was massive. Bigger than any mining vessel. Bigger than the military cruisers that used to patrol these sectors. The ship was angular and blocky, built for function over form, with enormous engines that glowed blue-white in the darkness. Strange symbols covered its hull, not the flowing script of the galaxy's common languages, but sharp, simple marks that looked almost primitive. The station's ancient communications array crackled. A voice came through, speaking in a language Rex didn't recognize. It was harsh and guttural, full of hard consonants and short vowels. Then, amazingly, the voice switched to broken Galactic Standard. Hello. Person in. Metal House. We are ... humans. From Earthplace. You need ... help? Rex's throat was too dry to speak. He tried to activate the comm system, but his shaking fingers kept missing the controls. Humans? He'd never heard of humans. Earthplace? What was Earth? The voice continued. We see your light signal. Very small, very weak. But we see. We come to help. Yes? You let us dock? Finally, Rex managed to hit the right button. His voice came out as barely a whisper. Yes, please, I'm dying here. There was a pause. Then the voice returned, stronger and more determined. No dying today, friend. Humans here now. We fix. We always fix. The massive ship moved with surprising grace, aligning itself with the station's docking port. Rex watched in amazement as the vessel's hull opened and smaller craft emerged, repair drones, from the look of them, but unlike any design he'd ever seen. They swarmed over the station's exterior, their welding torches already lighting up the darkness. As the ship completed its docking sequence. Rex allowed himself something he hadn't felt in 300 cycles. Hope. These humans, whoever they were, had found him. In all the vastness of space, they had heard his tiny signal and come. He didn't know it yet, but he was about to learn why humans were different. Why they searched the dark corners of space. Why they never ignored a distress signal, no matter how small. The airlock hissed open, and Rex's salvation began. Captain Tom stood at the airlock, adjusting his translator device one more time. Behind him, his crew waited with medical supplies, food, and repair equipment. They'd found plenty of abandoned stations before, but never one with a survivor. The fact that someone was still alive in that failing metal coffin was nothing short of a miracle. Remember, people, Tom said to his team, we don't know what species we're dealing with. Could be scared, could be hostile. Keep your movements slow and your voices calm. The inner door opened with a pneumatic hiss, and Tom stepped into the station. The smell hit him first, recycled air that had been breathed too many times, mixed with the metallic tongue of rust and desperation. The lights flickered overhead, casting dancing shadows down the corridor. They found Rex collapsed in the observation deck, too weak to stand. Tom's heart sank when he saw the alien's condition. Forearms, blue skin stretched tight over prominent bones, and 3 eyes that had lost most of their shine. But those eyes widened when they saw the humans. Hello, friend, Tom said softly, kneeling beside Rex. I'm Captain Tom. This is my crew. We're here to help. Rex tried to speak, but only managed a raspy whisper. Tom didn't need a translation to understand. He'd seen starvation before. He pulled out a water pouch and gently helped Rex drink. Just a few sips at first. Dr. Maria pushed past Tom, already scanning Rex with her medical tablet. Captain, he's in bad shape. Severe malnutrition, dehydration, and his species? I've never seen anything like it. 4-chambered hearts, but they're barely pumping. Can you help him? Tom asked. Doc Maria was already pulling supplies from her kit. I'll need to adapt our treatments, but yes. We didn't come all this way to lose him now. While Maria worked, Engineer Jack and his team spread throughout the station. Their heavy boots clanged on the metal floors as they assessed the damage. Jack's voice crackled over the comb. Captain, this place is held together with prayer and duct tape. But we can fix it. Give us 12 hours. You have 6, Tom replied. Make it work. As Rex received his first real meal in months, a nutrient paste that Maria had quickly formulated for his biology, he watched the humans work. They moved with incredible efficiency, but what struck him most was their attitude. They weren't just fixing the station. They were attacking each problem like it was a personal insult. When the heating unit proved too damaged to repair, the humans didn't give up. They ran power cables from their own ship, creating a temporary heating grid. When they found the water recycler's filters were completely clogged, they didn't just clean them. They installed 3 backup systems. Why? Rex managed to ask Tom, his voice getting stronger with each passing hour. Why help me? You don't know me. Your species? I've never heard of humans. You owe me nothing. Tom smiled, a strange expression that Rex would later learn meant happiness among humans. Let me tell you about humans, Rex. We're new to space. Only been out here for 50 years. Every other species we've met has been out here for centuries, millennia even. You all have rules about who's worth saving, whose distress signals matter, which trade routes are profitable enough to maintain. He paused, watching his crew work. But we remember what it's like to be alone in the dark. Every human knows that feeling. So we made ourselves a simple rule. If someone calls for help, we answer. Doesn't matter who. Doesn't matter where. Doesn't matter if there's profit in it. Rex felt something wet on his face and realized he was crying. His species hadn't shed tears in generations, but somehow His body remembered how over the next few hours, Rex watched the station transform. The lights stopped flickering. The air grew clean and warm. The terrible grinding sound from the air scrubbers was replaced by a smooth, gentle hum. But more than that, the station filled with something it hadn't had in 300 cycles. Life. The humans talked while they worked, laughed at jokes Rex didn't understand, and shared their food freely. They treated the station not as an abandoned relic, but as someone's home that needed care. "Your ship," Rex said to Tom. "It's a mining vessel?" Tom laughed. "No, friend. It's a search and rescue ship. The U's Hope. We patrol the forgotten edges of space, looking for people like you." "Looking for people like me?" Rex repeated, confused. "People who've been left behind," Tom said simply. "Because humans believe nobody should be forgotten in the void. Asterisk." As Rex grew stronger over the next day, he found himself in the Hope's medical bay, surrounded by curious human crew members. They came in shifts during their breaks, bringing him food, water, and most importantly, companionship. He learned their names: Tom the captain, Maria the doctor, Jack the engineer, Lisa the navigator, and Mike the communications officer. "Tell me about Earth," Rex asked, surprising himself with his curiosity. "Tell me about humans." The crew exchanged glances, and Tom pulled up a chair. "Earth is our home planet. Third rock from our sun. Nothing special by galactic standards. We're not the strongest species out here. Not the smartest. Not the most advanced. But we might be the most stubborn." Lisa laughed and pulled out a data pad, showing Rex an image. It was a blue and green sphere, swirling with white clouds. "That's Earth. Pretty, isn't it? But here's the thing. We almost destroyed it. Wars, pollution, greed. We came within a hair's breadth of ending ourselves before we even reached the stars." "But you didn't," Rex observed. "No," Maria said, checking his vital signs while she talked. "At the last moment, we remembered something important. We remembered that we're all in this together. The whole human race on one tiny planet in an infinite universe. It changed us." Mike leaned forward, his young face earnest. "When we finally developed faster-than-light travel and met other species, we were shocked. The galaxy was full of life, but everyone had these strict rules. Trade agreements that left whole sectors to starve. Distress signals that went unanswered because the caller couldn't pay. Species that had been spacefaring for thousands of years, but had forgotten what it meant to care about strangers. So we decided to be different," Jack added, his rough hands still stained with grease from fixing the station. "We couldn't compete with the big trading consortiums or the military powers. But we could do what nobody else was doing. We could care." Rex listened, fascinated. In all his years working for the Galactic Mining Consortium, he'd never heard of a species that thought this way. But what's the profit in it? What do you gain? Tom stood up and walked to the viewport, looking out at the repaired mining station. "Rex, let me tell you what happened 40 years ago. A human colony ship got lost in an uncharted sector. Their engines failed. Life support was dying. They sent out a distress signal, but they were too far from human space. Nobody should have heard them." He turned back to face Rex, but a species called the Thrakari did hear them. Old spacefaring race, been around for 3,000 years. They could have ignored it. The colony ship had nothing to offer, no way to pay. But they remembered something they'd seen humans do. They'd watched us answer every distress call, help every stranded vessel, regardless of species or profit. So they saved our colony ship. 3,000 human lives saved by aliens who had learned compassion from us. After that, Maria continued, it started happening more and more. Species that had ignored each other for millennia started helping each other. Not for profit, but because it was right. The galaxy started to change, slowly, one rescue at a time. Rex felt his three eyes well up again. "And that's why you're out here? In the Forgotten Edges?" "That's exactly why," Lisa said. "We've got 100 ships like the Hope now, patrolling the dark corners where nobody else goes. We look for the forgotten mining stations, the failed colonies, the ships that took a wrong turn. We look for people like you." Jack pulled up a holographic display showing a map of the galaxy. Tiny blue dots marked locations across the spiral arms. "These are all the rescues human ships have made in the last 10 years. 4,321. And now 4,322. Rex stared at the map, overwhelmed. Each dot represented lives saved, hope restored. "My species? We would never. We always calculate the profit first. Your species hasn't met humans yet," Tom said with that strange smile. "But they will. And maybe they'll learn what the Thracori learned, what dozens of other species have learned. That profit isn't always measured in credits or resources. Sometimes it's measured in lives saved, in hope restored, in the knowledge that somewhere in the dark, someone will answer when you call for help." Mike stood up excitedly. "Oh, and Rex, now that you're feeling better, we should talk about your station. Jack's team found something interesting in your asteroid field." "What?" Rex asked, confused. "Those crystals you were mining? The ones everyone abandoned? Turns out, humans have a use for them. A big use." Rex followed Jack through the gleaming corridors of the Hope toward the analysis lab. His strength had returned remarkably fast under Maria's care, and his blue skin had regained its healthy darker shade. But nothing had prepared him for what Jack was about to show him. The lab doors opened to reveal several humans, hunched over scanning equipment, with samples of the purple crystals from the asteroid field glowing softly under examination lights. When they saw Rex, they all straightened up, excitement visible on their faces. "Rex!" Jack called out, gesturing him over. "You need to see this. Those crystals you were mining? The Galactic Consortium was using them for decorative purposes, right? Jewelry for the rich?" "Yes," Rex confirmed, confused. "Pretty, but ultimately useless. That's why when the war started and luxury goods lost value, they abandoned the station." A younger human, introduced as Sam the scientist, actually laughed. "Useless? Rex, these crystals are anything but useless. Watch this." Sam carefully placed a small crystal fragment into a specialized chamber and activated it. Immediately, the crystal began to pulse with energy, and the readings on the nearby screens went wild. The entire room seemed to hum with power. "These crystals," Sam explained, barely containing his enthusiasm, "are perfect energy amplifiers. One crystal this size could power a small city for a year. The consortium was using them for jewelry while sitting on the greatest energy source in the galaxy." Rex's three eyes widened in disbelief. That's impossible." The consortium scientists studied these for decades. Tom entered the lab, having heard the discussion. "That's the thing about humans, Rex. We look at things differently. Your consortium scientists probably did exactly what they were trained to do, followed established procedures, used standard testing methods. Humans, we poke things. We experiment. We ask what if, and then try it, even if it seems crazy." Lisa pulled up a holographic display. "Rex, do you understand what this means? Your mining station isn't worthless. It's sitting on possibly the most valuable resource in known space. And you're the only one who knows how to harvest them safely." Rex had to sit down, his legs suddenly weak again, but not from malnutrition this time. But I'm just one person. The station barely functions even with your repairs." "Was just one person," Mike corrected with a grin. "Rex, we've already sent word back to Earth. 3 human mining ships are on their way, along with a full crew. But here's the important part. This is your station. You filed the original claim. You stayed when everyone else left. Under both human and galactic law, you own the rights to this asteroid field. I own it? Rex had never owned anything in his life. He'd always been just another worker, another forgotten cog in the consortium's machine. You own it, Tom confirmed. And the Human Mining Guild wants to partner with you. 50-50 split. They provide the workers and equipment. You provide the expertise and the legal claim. You'll never be forgotten or abandoned again. Jack pulled out a datapad. We've also taken the liberty of sending a message to your home world. Your family thought you were dead, Rex. They'll know within the week that you're alive, and wealthy enough to bring them here if you want. Rex couldn't speak. The tears were flowing freely now, all three eyes producing more water than they had in his entire life. These humans hadn't just saved his life. They'd given him a future he never could have imagined. Why? He finally managed to ask. You could have claimed the field for yourselves. I was nearly dead. No one would have known. The humans in the room looked at each other as if the question didn't make sense. Finally, Tom spoke. Rex, that's not how humans do things. We didn't come out to the stars to take what isn't ours. We came to find friends, to build something better than what we had before. Sam added, besides, you're going to need our help with something else. We detected other abandoned mining stations in this sector. If they're mining the same crystals, there are 12 others, Rex said quietly. All abandoned when the consortium pulled out. Then we have work to do, Tom said, clapping Rex on what he hoped was a shoulder. The Hope needs to visit each one. Who knows? Maybe we'll find more survivors. Maybe we'll find more friends. Rex stood up, steadier now. Captain Tom, I want to come with you. To the other stations. I know their layouts, their emergency codes. If there are survivors, I can help. Tom's smile grew wider. Rex, I was hoping you'd say that. Welcome to the crew of the Hope. Asterisk. 6 months had passed since the Hope had answered Rex's distress signal. The once dead mining station 7 was now unrecognizable, transformed into a bustling hub of activity. Human and alien workers moved through its expanded corridors, the sound of construction and conversation filling spaces that had been silent for so long. Rex stood in the new command center, watching the activity on multiple screens. 3 more mining stations had been reclaimed and restored, and against all odds, they'd found 2 more survivors, a pair of engineers who'd managed to put themselves into emergency stasis with the last of their power. Administrator Rex, a human voice called out. He turned to see Anna, one of the new mining supervisors. The Earth delegation is here for the ceremony. Rex nodded, still not entirely comfortable with his new title. Administrator. Him. The, forgotten worker who'd almost died alone in the void. He made his way to the main docking bay, where a gleaming diplomatic vessel was completing its connection. The Hope sat in the next bay over, being resupplied for another rescue mission. Tom and his crew were there, dressed in their formal uniforms for the first time Rex had ever seen. Nervous? Tom asked, walking over to stand beside his friend. Terrified, Rex admitted. The Galactic Consortium is sending representatives too. They want to discuss buying crystals from us. Tom laughed. The same consortium that abandoned you here to die? That should be an interesting conversation. The delegation emerged from the diplomatic vessel, humans in formal attire, but also representatives from several other species. Rex recognized Thrakari, Bendari, even a few Zelenites. Word had spread about the human rescue missions, and more species were joining the effort. The ceremony was simple, as human ceremonies tended to be. The Earth delegation officially recognized the Crystal Field Alliance, the new organization Rex would lead, partnering human technology with alien expertise. But more importantly, they announced the expansion of the rescue fleet. 20 new ships would join the Hope, patrolling the forgotten edges of known space. Admiral Davis, the head of the Earth delegation, spoke to the assembled crowd. 6 months ago, one ship answered one distress signal. Today, we stand in a thriving station that was once dead, surrounded by friends who were once strangers. This is what humans bring to the galaxy. Not conquest, not exploitation, but hope. When it was Rex's turn to speak, he looked out at the mixed crowd of humans and aliens. I waited 300 cycles for someone to answer my call. I had given up. I was ready to die. Then the humans came. They didn't know me. They had no reason to help, but they came anyway. He paused, his 3 eyes scanning the crowd. The humans have a saying, no one gets left behind. Today, I make you all a promise. As long as this station stands, as long as I draw breath, we will support the human rescue fleet. Every crystal we mine will help fund more ships, more rescues. No one in this sector will ever be forgotten in the void again. The crowd erupted in applause, a sound that would have seemed impossible in this place just months ago. Later, as the festivities continued, Rex found himself back in the observation deck, where he'd almost given up. Tom joined him, carrying 2 cups of what humans called coffee. You know, Tom said, looking out at the stars, we've received over 100 distress signals since word got out about what we're doing. Some of them are decades old, automated systems still calling for help. Will you answer them all? Rex asked. Every single one, Tom confirmed. It might take years, but we'll answer them all. And with the resources from your crystal operation, we can do it faster, better. Rex sipped the coffee, still finding the human drink strange, but oddly comforting. I've been thinking, Tom, when my contract here is stable, when I've trained my replacement, I want to join a rescue ship. I want to be the one who answers when someone calls. Tom smiled. I had a feeling you'd say that. There's a new ship being commissioned next year. The UE's Second Chance. They'll need an experienced commander, someone who understands what it's like to be forgotten. Interested? Yes, Rex said without hesitation. As they stood there, a new alert came through the communication system. Another distress signal, this one from a failed colony, 3 systems away. Tom activated his communicator. Hope to Fleet Command. We've received a distress signal. Coordinates incoming. The Hope is ready to depart immediately. That's what I love about you humans, Rex said. You never hesitate. Never have, never will, Tom replied, already moving toward his ship. Because somewhere in the dark, someone is waiting. And humans always answer the call. Rex watched as the Hope departed, its engines glowing bright against the star field. Once, he had been forgotten in the void. Now, he was part of something greater, a galactic community learning that no one should be left behind. The age of human compassion had begun, and the galaxy would never be the same. The end asterisk.